Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Thank you. That is with me here today. It's Friday, so thank you for your presence here watching this live. I hope that you enjoy. We'll talk about credible cost estimations here, how we can, what is the factors that can affect, and how we can improve the quality, the accuracy of the cost estimations that we are doing in our business, in our companies. No, so first, initially, let me introduce myself. My name is Helber Macedo. I am the cost manager at Baker Hughes here in the UK. We are responsible to develop cost estimation for subsea equipments around the world. I have 15 years of experience in the energy industry. I have been working nuclear industry in oil and gas for all these years since 2006. I have a certification in this area. I am CCP from AACE. Also, I am a member of an institution here in UK, a Cost E, and I have two master degrees, one in sustainable energy from Cardiff University, one from Brazil in geophysics. I am not engineer, I am physics. I have a bachelor in physics, and also I love this possibility to have training, to have interaction with the students. I have been um, doing training for Petrobras for 5 years in Petrobras University as well. Okay, our agenda for today, we will initially talk about one first very important topic, the clear scope identification. So we need to have a clear scope identification. Then we'll talk about change, uh, standardize the estimate, what should be included, what should not be included in the estimate. Then I will give the instructions for the giveaway. Um, we will discuss about inflation and escalation, the importance of have all the stakeholders on board when you are building your cost estimation. Then we talk about a very important topic, data, how we manage our data to ensure that we have quality, traceability. Contingency is very important as well. And the review, a review is so important to have a strong cost estimation. I will share the next event that I will do in January, and then I will highlight very quickly about the book, and we'll have the giveaway and the conclusion. Okay, so first topic is about the clear scope identification. When we talk about cost estimation and when I talk about project management, we need to ensure that the scope is very clear. We need to ensure that we know what we are doing. We know what we are doing, the building your estimation. So it's very important that all the assumptions or the technical requirements, everything should be identified, should be registered, everything. So how we can do this? There are a lot of techniques that you can use. You can, of course, has a group of experts that you read the documentation and define the scope. We can have used checklists to ensure that everything from the previous projects I'm included now. I can do surveys. I should use historical information from previous project. We can use a flow chart. I will show an example soon. We can have meetings with the key stakeholders to discuss the scope and ensure that everything is included. And we can use benchmark from different projects to support us to define the scope. So here's one example. Suppose that you have a process plant. The capacity could be, I don't know, 1,000 tons per day. And okay, this is my base scope, is my base case, my process plant. But this flow chart, he is trying to propose some reflection, some questions that you should do to ensure if everything that you need is there in your scope. For example, okay, you know that you need your process plan, but do you know if you need facilities as well? Do you have water enough for this process plant, electricity, all these facilities or you need to build a water treatment plant for your to support your process plant? If this is the case, you need to include this scope in your analysis to calculate your cost for this unit and include in your study to see if your process plant will be profitable. No, In the same way, you need to analyze interconnections. For example, I need some tanks to storage something. I have a place that I need to do my upload or download of all my material. So if not, I need to include as well safety installations. I need to see what from the studies that I am doing, if I need to require to have some emergency station, for instance. Also, I need a new office to that my HR, my IT team, where they will be allocated. So it's not only the process plant, but everything that I need to support my process plant. I need to analyze if it will be required in my scope. So all these things will be included. For example, one more thing that's very important, environment study that I need to do to check the impact. What will be the actions that I need from this study that I need to include in my scope? When I do all this analysis, when I check all these things, I will be very clear what's the picture for my scope. So the scope identification is a clear point that I need to ensure and do it properly, because if I don't do this properly, when I move to the execution phase, I will have problems. The second topic or second area that we need to discuss to ensure that my cost estimate will be robust, will be good, very good, is the change. Something that we know when it will happen, of course, we will have change during the execution of my cost estimation. And also during the execution phase, of course, we have change, because this is something normal in any project. So what is important? I should have, first topic, I should have a revision control. I should have some software or tool that support me in this revision control. I will know who changed what and when. Also, it's very important to have a process to measure, to check, to get the approvals for the change that you have in during the cost estimation process. Another thing is the communication plan. I need to know who I need to tell that I am doing this change, because one of the problems that I see in the company is the silos, the charts. We have the finance chart here, the silo here. We have the operation team. We have the project management team, the planning team, and they don't talk each other. And because these, we have problems. So it's very important that that if your engineer team is doing some change, they have a clear communication with all the stakeholders to ensure that everyone knows what has happened. And here is very important to have clear roles and responsibilities. Who will do what and when? And finally, it's very good idea to have a base of estimate, a document that will highlight all the assumptions, everything that is the critical will happen during the cost estimation process. So here's one example um, of when we talk about change, what we expectation that should have. So suppose that I build my cost, so I have my cost estimation done. So this will be my revision zero, but there's something changed. There's some new requirement for the client, or some clarification that we get. So we got from the client. So from this new input, I will have a change. I will need a new pump, or I need to change some material in the piping, for instance. So when I identify this thing, I should have a clear process. Okay, I have a change here. I need to get approvals because it will be increase my cost, or I need to include a new scope, and it will be I need to have a registration. I need to documentation of what I am doing, and it will be very important that I increase the revision of my cost estimation. But what is the challenge here? The challenge is because sometimes we don't have so much time. Everything is happening at the same time. So this is the big challenge. We should have a clear process, but we should be able to do everything in very quick time turn around, because the change happened today, and maybe tomorrow and the day after I need to have everything done and updated. The next topic that we'll talk about is the standardization. and it here is very important, very helpful thing. We should have a standard WPS. We should have a standard work breakdown structure. For example, here in this picture, when everything is a mess, it's much more complicated to identify. And sometimes, like I said previously, we don't have so much time nowadays. We need to do many things in short time. So everything is not organized, it's not standardized, it's more complicated to identify the problem, to identify what has happened. So here to to say look for that shoes will be hard because we don't know what is this. But when everything is organized, it's easy to, oh, I need this or I need that. So, what is important? We need to have standard work breakdown structures. Of course, every project is different, but maybe the top levels, the level one, two, three, four, five, I will have a standard WS that, and also my CBS, because then will be easy that for all the projects, I know where normally I will find my piping, I know where normally I will find the civil construction, because it's in all the company we are using similar standard models. So this is very important. The next topic, um, of course, every cost estimation we have something that will not be included and what will be included. So it's very important that we um, have a clear documentation. So what is we are not included in our cost, and what is the assumptions, what is the exclusions that we did, and why. No, so for example, if I will say that we will not include overtime, it's important that I write this and the reason. So the location, the strategy, that what will be the execution that I am considering, what's the suppliers that I'm considering when I'm building my cost, because then we'll be able to explain in the future what's the reason, what the historical information behind that cost estimation. And here, the base of the estimate could be a very important document that support this moment, okay? Because the base of the estimate is something that you will tell what's the methodology that you're using, who is working in that cost estimation, what's the tools that you are using, and also what's the inputs that you are considering. Because in the end of the day, if your quality of your input is low, of course your output will be low as well, because it's impossible to have a very poor project maturity for your case, and your cost estimation will be amazing with the low accuracy. If your project has low maturity, your cost estimation, of course, will be a huge accuracy range, because a lot of the things could happen during the execution phase. Now I will move to the instructions of the giveaway, okay? So I would like to ask you if you can, in the comments, use hashtag giveaway, because then you allow your participation for the draw in the end of this live, okay? So please, if you can type hashtag giveaway, should be only now online, no, in this moment, because we will do the draw in the end of this live, okay? So if you can type hashtag giveaway, will be great. Um, Also, I am sharing these things in the LinkedIn, the post. We have a discount 40% from the publisher. You need to use this site for the publisher to buy the book, and you need to use this code that you can see here in the screen. Then you'll be able, from the site of the publisher, to get 40% discounts in all the formats. Okay. Um, I will move for the next topic. We talk about inflation. This is very important, because nowadays, because the war, the scenarios in around the world is complex. How is important that we included the inflation in our cost estimation? And here I would like to highlight the difference between inflation and escalation. Okay, inflation is something that will affect the purchase power. When the inflation is increasing, you lose your power of your money to buy your goods or your services, and it's measured by indicators. So normally every country they have some institution that will measure the inflation, and could be generated by, for example, the cost pressures when we have something happen, for example the war can be one of the factors. But here I would like to highlight the difference for the escalation, because when you talk about cost estimation, here is what you need to use. You need to use the escalation, because escalation, they have some similarities with the inflation, but they are not the same thing. Here you can see the factors that affect the escalation. Inflation is one of them, but could be some things that will be different. For example, could be some difference for the engineer. They are trying to use a new material or a new requirement that they, for example, there are new law that they need to stop to use a specific type of material, and we need to use a more expensive material. It will increase the price of that service, of that good. In the same way, the law of the supply of and demand, of course it will impact, because if you have a lot of people looking for that service, for that good, and we don't have enough supply of that thing, the price will increase, and the opposite way as well. So here I'm trying to provide an example. You see here in the chart, in the blue curve is the inflation per year, but you can see that the price for that pump is different. The increase is different. Why? Is because it's not only the inflation that is affecting the price of that pump, but for example, we have here the engineer change that has happened. Like I said, could be a new requirement, or from the client, or some new specification for safety conditions, for example. All these things will increase the price. So the escalation is an important factor that I need to include when I'm building my cost estimation. The next topic um, is to ensure that we have the stakeholders on board. We need to have um, the stakeholders checking um, all my process. They should be all the areas participating during the when I'm building my cost estimation. And also it's important, if possible, if I have um, area or a person, independent person, that will validate, will do the revision to improve the accuracy uh, and of my product, of my cost estimation. The next topic is about the viability of data. So it's data is the king. uh, if you have a good quality of your data, will make a lot of difference. So you should ensure that your data has traceability. You can explain where it's coming from, that cost, that reference. You need to be able to explain where it's coming from, that hours, or that scope. So you need to be clear that you know this thing. And here one of the challenges is the time, because if you um, don't have enough time, maybe your quality of your data will not be good, because you will not have time to do analysis, to check, to verify if everything is okay. um, Another thing is to try to use BI. So um, I really recommend that you start to study and start to use business intelligence to see, navigate the data, analyze the data. We have, for example, Power BI, that is very interesting tool that you can use to look at your data and try to improve the analysis that you are doing. And finally is the integration. If you have different systems, you should work in your company, in your business, to try to ensure that this system has integration. They save the time to avoid download information, upload information. This is not good, and when you can have mistakes happen. The next topic is about contingency. Okay, contingency It's very interesting topic. Probably I will try in the future do one specific live only about contingencies, uh, because the contingencies we expect that should be calculated to cover risks and uncertainties. We know that every cost estimations we have risks and uncertainties. Uncertainties correlated with the planning, with my reference for my cost, or um, um, uncertainties from the execution. So you don't know exactly if your define will be 100 tons of pipe or 110, or if the salary that you define now, what will be the salary that will be in the execution. So all these things are uncertainties, but in additional of the uncertainties we have the risks that can happen during my execution phase, and to protect for risks that can happen, and also from these uncertainties we have the contingencies. And here I'm just highlight very quickly the methodology that you can use to calculate your contingency. You can have a parametric equation, and then here you need to have historical information to build your equation. It could be a topic for another day. Or you can have an expert opinion that they you say, look, based on my experience, I believe that here we need 10, 5, 20% of contingency. The next methodology, when you have a procedure in your company, then you can use charts, or you can use table for the complexity or for the capacity. They will define, look, for this complex or for this capacity, we'll use 5, 10, 15% of contingency. And the best methodology is the risk analysis. But here we need require time, with knowledge, how to use the risk analysis. And here is a top level when you have integration between cost and schedule to calculate the contingencies for time and cost as well. Then we will move uh, for the last topic, but very important as well, to ensure that the quality of my cost estimation will be good. And here is about the review. Uh, so we should have different types of reviews, okay? We should have the design review to ensure that my scope is correct. We should have the planning review to ensure that my schedule is correct, all my assumptions are correct. We should have the risk review, but also here, this will be the focus of this slide. Here is the cost review. And how to do the cost review. The first thing, in my view, if possible, we should use different team. So who work in the cost estimation should be a different people that will do the review. Why? Because I will tell by myself here, when we are working the same thing for 1, 2, 3 days, 1 month, sometimes you become blind. You cannot see what is very clear in front of your eyes. So if you bring someone different, oh, you'll be great, because this person will be very clear something that is maybe you cannot see. Another thing is, if you don't have so much time, maybe you can get the most important, the critical items, to focus what is the essential. No, uh, the next thing about the time, what's the time that is required. Of course, if you have a very complex time, I really recommend that you have a very high and detailed cost review, and it will be required maybe not 1 hour but half a day or one day, that you use a team, um, expert team, to review, to ensure the quality of your cost estimation. And also, it's a good idea for these moments you have a senior professional with a lot of experience, to look, because they will have the sensitivity to feeling to go was the critical and uses lessons learned as well. So one good idea is try to use checklist to ensure that everything that you need to do is done. And maybe you can also check if you do have a lessons learned system that you can go and see for the previous mistakes is now it's done. And finally, you can have indicators or benchmarks, to check if see if something is strange, and if it's not matching with the benchmark, you can explain why. So all these things can improve and ensure that your estimation has a good level of quality. So we are arriving in the end of the live, and I would like just to tell what will be our next live. So in January, I'm planning to do 2 or 3 lives as well. The one that I am sharing here is in 16th of January, 5 o'clock UK time. We'll talk about basis of the estimate and the carbon footprint calculation. So Andrew is a professor of the University of Bath. He'll be with here in the channel, in my channel, talk about these two topics, very important for who is working the construction industry. Will like so much this topic as well. So very quick here, talk about the book. Like I mentioned before, I start to sell this book in December. Um, and the book talk about basic concepts. We talk about these three techniques to do the cost estimation: the quick methods, the detailed method, the probabilistic method. Then we have another section of the book when you talk about economic indicators, about economic feasibility study as well. Then we talk about with the execution phase, how to do the cost control, some additional topics, and finally about sustainability, how to do the calculation about the carbon that you have in your project. And finally, I would like to tell about one tool. So when you buy the book, you have an Excel tool. Let me see if I can very quickly show the tool. If you give me 1 minute, let me see here if I can show one example of the tool. So, so when you buy the book, you get this tool as well. Is one Excel, and here you will be able to see um, all the chapters, all the exercise, all the examples. So for example, when you talk about probabilistic cost estimation, if you go here, you'll be able to see how I did to build the charts that you see in the book, how I did the calculations. You can see the formulas, everything's here. So when you talk about, I don't know, quick methods, you can go here and see all the calculations, the formulas, and you can check here the exercise, the answers, everything is here. Okay. Um, so now we arrive in the giveaway. I don't know if we have some comments. Let me try to check here. I would like that if possible, if you want, if you can type hashtag giveaway to participation in the let me check here if I have comments. Um, Let me see. I cannot see no comments here. So if you want to participation in the draw, please type giveaway. If not, I will jump. It will be for another day. I cannot see no comments here. The idea is if you type it, I will draw a electronic copy of the book. I can see one here. Okay. Suresh. So let's just give you 1 more minute to see if more people will type hashtag giveaway. If not, Suresh, you'll be the winner. Let me see. Okay, no more. So I will just to show how this thing work, but we have only one person, so it don't make sense. Suresh, you are the winner. Okay. Uh, uh, Congratulations. If you can send me by LinkedIn, I will share my LinkedIn soon here. If you can send me a message with your email or just say hi, because then I will send you the information to download the book. Okay. Um, so the conclusion, I really believe when I talk about cost estimation and to ensure the quality of my cost estimation, my process is good, I should have a procedure. I should have how I would do it. Uh, Also, training is very important to ensure that the team has the best knowledge, the best technique to apply. And finally, cost estimation is not exact science. I cannot ensure that the cost estimation, what I can say is almost 100% the cost that you are calculating the planning phase, in the tender phase, in the execution will be different, because I have a lot of factors that can happen and can affect my project. No, like I said, uncertainties, risks, all these things, the assumptions that I did when I'm building the cost estimation, when arriving the execution will be different. Thank you for your presence. If I don't, probably will not have another live this year. So Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you. Oh, I saw one, but sorry, I said Suresh is the winner. Sorry, Wine. Suresh is the winner because he typed in. I move for the next phase here. Okay. Um, Here's my contacts, here my email, my Instagram, and my LinkedIn. So please, Suresh, if you can send me a message by LinkedIn or an email, would be great. Thank you for your presence, everyone. Speak with you soon. Thank you. Bye.